Welcome to the Crack House Chronicles, your favorite true crime podcast. I am Donnie, and with me is a man that wants everyone to know that if your favorite team sucks, it's because you haven't bought enough of their merchandise. It's Dale.
Ooh, well, I bought a bunch of merchandise, and my team still sucks. So.
You bought a bunch of Cowboy stuff?
Oh, I got a bunch.
You got everything from the Cowboys, don't you?
I don't know about everything, but I got a bunch.
Oh, man.
And they're embarrassing. Oh, Jesus.
He don't want to talk about it.
No.
That's a sore spot.
But I do want to talk about this.
Hey, man.
How about that?
Bring it on.
We have a brand new Apple 5-star review coming in here from up the road here. Tell you the truth. It says, I absolutely love this podcast. You just leave it at that, won't you?
Oh, that's enough right there.
But it gets better. Even cooler, they are county neighbors. We're in Rutherford. Is that up there in Ralston?
Yeah, Rutherford County is... Yeah, Ralston's in Rutherford County.
Yeah, okay.
But it's called Rutherfordton.
Yeah, Ralston. That's what I said.
Yeah.
Anyway, great work, Donnie and Dale. So this comes from Hog Fat. So Hog Fat, we appreciate you taking time to do that, and give us a holler. Come on down sometime, neighbor.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, up there in Ellenboro. Is Ellenboro up there too?
Ellenboro's in
City?
Rutherford County.
Is Forest City too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything's pronounced different up there.
Oh, yeah, it's like Turble.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was terrified they was going to say, ask us what road it was on. We were on Nancy Grace, and I was going to have to say Cherryville.
Yes.
And nobody in our listening area would realize where it was. And she had to say Turble.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Oh, man.
Anyway, what we got going on today?
Well, if anybody wants to be like Hog Fat, they can go to Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star review, and write something in that box, and we'll give you a big old shout-out.
Yeah, because we sure appreciate it.
Yeah, or you can go to the website and get you something off the store page, get something cool to wear. Fall's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Get you a T-shirt, hoodie.
Get your hoodie like Jordan did. It's sweet.
Yeah.
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 Trailer Park Famous, baby.
Man, I love it.
I do, too.
Yeah, he's sporting our...
I'm about to buy me one now.
Sporting our logo. Yeah, it looked good. You showed me the picture of it. It looked good.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Jordan.
Yeah, appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah, man. And we appreciate everybody who's going on to the website and going on to Apple 5-star and doing all that good stuff.
Those Patreon folks.
Yeah, we appreciate everybody. Everybody spreading the love, telling everybody about us.
We appreciate you.
It does mean a lot, man.
It does.
But other than that, dude, we're going to get going this episode.
Let's do it.
Because today, we got a case that's right here close to us.
Yes.
In our county.
Yep.
And this is something we've been wanting to do for a while. And it's just finding the right time to do it, and we feel it's the right time.
Yeah. Well, it's not been easy to find information.
That's very true.
I mean, there's not been very much done, seems to be on this case, but it is very important to us. We have friends who knew the fellow and worked with him and stuff, and so we just want to do this case here today.
But it's an unsolved murder.
It is.
And
It's the oldest unsolved murder in the county.
The oldest, yeah, in Cleveland County.
Yeah.
But today we're talking about a guy by the name of Charles Alvin Porter Jr.
That's right.
But he went by Chuck.
What about Chuck?
Chuck Porter. Now, just a little bit of background on Chuck Porter. He was born on January the 2nd of 1954 in Lincoln County, North Carolina. And Dale, he was a 1972 graduate of Cherryville High School. And also, he went to the Northwestern Taxidermy College in Omaha, Nebraska.
Pretty cool.
Yes. And he was also an Eagle Scout.
Yep.
Yeah.
So a few points in your book. Then.
Oh, yeah. But that just shows you right there what kind of guy Chuck was. I mean, to become an Eagle Scout, I mean, it shows you can get into something and you can finish it.
Right.
So that's pretty remarkable.
It's pretty high ranking.
But Chuck, he was murdered, man.
Yeah.
And he was murdered on September the 26th of 1993.
Yeah. He went in a rest area on the side of Interstate.
Yes.
Just right
I-85, yeah. That describe this. Cleveland County, where we are, sits on the North Carolina-South Carolina border.
Yes.
And I-85 sort of intersects the corner of the county.
Correct.
Yeah. And there used to be a rest stop right there.
Which means like a building where it's got a bathroom and then a couple of vending machines.
Yeah. Place to stop and rest.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's the name, Rest Stop.
There you go.
But Chuck was murdered there that morning. It was a Sunday morning.
He was working.
He was.
Yeah, he didn't just stop on the way down the road. He was there for a purpose.
Yes, he was. And he was working there at the rest stop, and that's where he was murdered. And he was shot there, and he was shot in the chest, and then he was tied up with a cord from a radio, like the electrical cord, in a storage closet.
Right.
And that's it. It's still unsolved to this day, and we don't know anything about it.
Now, apparently this was done like early in the morning, and people were there?
There were people there at the rest stop. And
that's just so odd.
Yes. And there were some people that saw this happen, heard the shots. There was another lady there that was working there cleaning another restroom, and she heard what she sounded like, how a breaker, electrical breaker, would click when it shuts off.
Yeah.
Pop a breaker.
Something popping.
Yeah, that's what she thought it was, but it was actually a gunshot. I guess the echo, or it got muffled, and that's what she heard, that popping.
I guess.
And then there were some people that saw two black males leaving the rest stop. It was reported that they were in a tan or gray Volkswagen Jetta. And they got back on the interstate and were heading south. But then it was reported they turned around at an exit and came back up I-85 and were going north. Yes. And that's pretty much all we know. So, Dale, after this short break, we've got a special guest that's going to come in here and tell us a little bit more about this. And this is going to be Chuck's sister. Okay. All right, Dale, we are back, and we've got a special guest on the show tonight. This is Chuck's sister. She has agreed to come on the show and give us some more information on him and tell us about his life and what exactly happened to him. And she is so brave to do this and to come on the show. And man, this is just awesome to hear the story.
Well, you know, we've been wanting to do this for a while, and our friend Jimmy Hensley, he's hit me up several times to do this. I think they work together some, and we just never could get the information that would do it justice, right?
Yeah.
And luckily, look what happens today.
So we want to welcome Chuck's sister to the show, Crystal Porter. Welcome to the show, Crystal.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
We are so glad to have you. Yeah, and we've been, like Dale said, we've been wanting to do Chuck's story for a while, and it's just trying to find the right angle and get this out to our listeners so people will know more about him. But tell us, let's just go back and tell us what your earliest memories were of you and Chuck. I know you're...
Oh, gosh, probably when I was like 4 years old. We had gone fishing one time. We lived across the road from where I'm at now in a little house over there. It's a little pink house, kind of like at John Cougar Mellencamp song. But we lived in a little pink house over there. And my daddy was in business for himself. He was a landscaper. My mom worked at REA, and we had gone fishing. We had I can remember, had on a pair of little orange pants, little shorts, and a little shirt, long hair, and he had his short haircut, and he had on a pair of blue jeans cut off, and we was holding up our stringer of fish that we had caught. They didn't look like nothing but little minnows or something. I mean, they weren't no size at all, but we were proud of what we'd caught. And Daddy and Mom both had taken us, and we came back and we were standing out there in the yard, and we grew up together. He was my older brother. He's 5.5 years older than me.
Yeah.
And he's always there for me.
Looking after you, huh?
Yeah.
So what were some things that Chuck liked to do when he was a kid? What was he into?
Well, he was a Boy Scout, and he made Eagle Scout at a very early age. He was one of the earliest Eagle Scout. He was the earliest Eagle Scout at his time than there ever had been. I think he made Eagle Scout at about 14 or 15 years old. I counted his laps when he rode his bicycle, and he got swimming merit badges and everything. He had all of them he could have, and he liked to hunt. He liked to fish. He did taxidermy work. I had to give a whole bunch of deer heads back to people after he was murdered. He had 3 deep freezers down in Mom and Dad's basement, and it was full of stuff that he hadn't got done yet. But he did that. He took a course, and he got that at about 12 or 13 years old.
Wow, man.
He'd pull snakes' teeth out and throw them down out there at my swing set. And I told him, I said, "You're going to make me get a snake tooth in my foot out here."
Oh, my goodness. And
I had a duck that I had for Easter one year, and it was eating some lettuce or something, and it got sick, and it's about to die, and so Chuck rammed his hand down its throat and pulled the lettuce out of it, and he ended up dying anyway, and Chuck stuffed him for me, and he was down there in the basement at Mom and Daddy's.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man.
He used to tell all the RAs at church, next thing he's going to stuff is going to be me.
So it sounded like Chuck could do just a little bit of everything, couldn't he?
Oh, God, yeah. He was born about 100 years too late.
Really?
Wow.
He should have been born back in the earlier times. He was such a nature person. He loved outdoors. He did duck calls. He'd get up early in the morning before he went to work, and he'd go out in the boat. He had a little fishing boat, and he'd go out in it, and he would quack those ducks in. He had some decoys to sit out there in the water, and he'd do that before he went to work. And he'd come by my mama's house early in the morning, about 6:30, and ring the doorbell before he went into work. He wasn't really allowed to come up there and visit very much, but he did as much as he could.
Yeah. So he got a job working for the Department of Transportation, didn't he? At what age?
Yeah,
what age was that?
That was right out of, well, he went to school. He started to go to forestry school, and he got homesick, and he came home after about 6 to 8 weeks up there. And because he did landscaping work with Daddy, he went into the landscaping department. He had a tractor turned over on him and crushed his shoulder.
Oh, wow.
And the gas was dripping out of it. And they got the tractor off of him, and he'd have that shoulder pinned and fixed and everything. And he was in the hospital for a little while, and he had a little girl. They got a girl pregnant, and they got married, and he had my niece Shannon. And he was a good daddy, though. He came home and he'd cook and he'd clean and he'd do stuff because his wife didn't do too much anything. Well, she wasn't 15. She was my friend. She came home with us from school that night. I never saw him eat so fast as my wife. He couldn't take his eyes off of her. He was sitting there just shoveling his food in. And after we ate, he said, "Hey, you want me to take y'all riding around?" And I thought, who is this? Because he'd never offered to take me riding around before. He had a blue Mustang, had the rag top, 4x4, used to be my Grandpa Acres. And he took us, and she sat up there on the gear shifter between that, and I sat in the other seat. And we went down to the lake house down at Crafts. Daddy had a 2.5-acre fishing lake down there, and we had like 30 acres of land down there, and it was fenced in. He used to throw wild parties down there.
Oh, man.
And because I found people's underwear in there and stuff when I'd float around out there in the Coca-Cola raft I had, and I'd tie a string around my toe and try to catch fish with that. And one nibbled at it, I jerked my foot. And he was something else. He really was. He'd always have you laughing and stuff.
Yeah, he was just a good old boy then, wasn't he?
Yeah, he really was.
And he probably
We'd
didn't.
be going somewhere sometimes, and there'd be somebody broke down on the side of the road, and he said, "I got to stop and help him." I said, "Well, we're going to be late for where we're going." He said, "Don't worry about that." He said, I can't leave him stuck on the side of the road. There's an old man and woman one time, and he had parts in his car, and he fixed her car before we left to go.
Wow.
It's pretty wild. Yeah, Jimmy was telling me a story about that. He said, he said, I can't give you a lot of stories, but I can tell you definitely he was a funny dude to hang around with. And he said he had an old car at one time that something was wrong with the fuel tank. So instead of fixing it, he just fixed him up a milk jug or something and had it under the hood and had the fuel line running from that milk jug through the car. And then every time he'd run out, he'd just stop and fill up his jug again. So he's a pretty handy guy.
Oh, yeah, he could do about anything.
He said he caught a rattlesnake one time. The snake teeth thing you said made me think of this, and said it was down near the battleground somewhere. But he caught a rattlesnake, didn't have anywhere to put it, so he just held it in his hand and put his arm out the window and rolled the window up on his arm in case he dropped it, it wouldn't fall in the car. So I guess he wasn't scared of him either, huh? He said he was definitely a great guy.
He made all kinds of hat bands for the cowboy place up there in Shelby.
Right.
He made those bands and sold them to them up there. He could do anything. I tell you, he's something else.
Wow.
Like you said, he was born
He did
100
a lot of leather work and stuff, too. Made your name on the belts and stuff back years ago like they used to do.
Yeah, that was really popular at one time, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've still got mine that he made me.
Yeah, he was born 100 years too late, no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
He probably had a ton of friends, too, didn't he? Buddies he hung around with.
Oh, God, yeah. He had a highway patrol friend, and he had people. Well, he went to Boy Scout camp between his junior and senior year, and he met some guys from Cherville. And after going to camp with them, he decided he was going to go to Cherville High School his senior year and left Burns. So instead of graduating from Burns, he went to Cherville, and I said, well, if you're going, I'm going too. I said, you'll just have to take me by too. I said, I'll have to go to that old round schoolhouse over there. And that way I'd been in junior high, so I went 7th and 8th grade over there, and he did his senior year there, and he'd take me back and forth to school and pick me up and bring me home, and then he'd go to work. And came graduation time, he was supposed to be going to the beach, but he was going to come home and sleep a little bit that night. He took off from work. He'd been working second shift over at this mill in Cherville. It's closed down now, but about 2 o'clock, Daddy said he got up and told Mama he was sick, and his appendix had ruptured on him, and they was about to bust. And she took him to the hospital, and when I got up, I said, where's Mama and Chuck at? Daddy said, they're at the hospital. Said Chuck's appendix about busted last night. And so I went up there. He took me up there, and I sat up there with him and helped take care of him and everything, and because he couldn't get up or anything, and I had to give him his journal and all that stuff like that. And people just don't know what they missed, didn't know him.
Oh, I can't imagine. Yeah, that's somebody like I'd like to hang around. Me and Dale would like to hang around with. Yeah.
He used to tell me, he'd say, "Here, girl, get up here and do chin-ups on this arm," and he'd hold his arm up for me. He was very, very strong. He's like my Grandpa Porter. He's really stout. Matter of fact, my grandpa died on his birthday, and we've been going around putting drops in his eyes in the evenings before he took me home from school, and it really killed him. He was working at Carolina Freight then, and Mom and Dad told me we'd been over at the nursing home that night, and then when Papa died, and when we came home that morning, they told me, they said, you tell him when he comes in. And I didn't want to have to tell him, but when he came in, I said, Chuck, I said, I hate to have to tell you this. I said, and it's your birthday. I said, but Papa Porter died last night, or early this morning on your birthday. I said, he had a stroke. I said, and he didn't recover from it. He just turned around, walked outside, went outside and started crying. And he's out there for a long time before he came back in.
Man.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, that's tough. I can't even imagine. Wow. So you said he got a job working for the Department of Transportation, North Carolina DOT.
Right.
When was that?
That was probably when he was about 19, maybe 20 years old.
And did he get married and have one daughter?
Yeah.
Okay.
They separated, and I moved in with him for a while and stayed up there, and he had this dog named Wolfie, and that dog was something else. He wouldn't even let me get in the house. I had to climb out my window of my car and go across the hood to get up on the porch to go in. He drug a big old piece of wood on a log chain, and that dog would run, oh my gosh, and drag that darn big old piece of wood. Chuck had it hooked up like you wouldn't believe.
I bet you know a lot of stories on Chuck.
Oh, God, yeah.
Probably some stuff.
Some of them I can't tell.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, the underwear was... yeah. Yeah, I can't even imagine, Crystal. I can't even imagine. So let's talk about the day that he was murdered, if you don't mind.
Okay.
I know that's tough. That's tough for you. But that day, what happened that day? Did he get called into work?
No, he didn't work on his house. And, my grandpa had died in June. And 5 days after my grandpa died, their house, my grandpa Laker's house caught on fire right across the road from us.
Oh, gosh.
And burned up, and it lightning struck it, and they said it was a alligator char, where they could tell it had run down the wiring in the house in the basement.
Oh, wow.
And we heard it pop, and we went over and looked, and I said, it hit that house somewhere, but we didn't see anything. And I was working on felonies and flat nurse, and the next morning I was in there getting ready for work, and I had a towel wrapped around my head and my dress on, my shoes, and my hose on. I didn't have my shoes on yet. And Daddy came running down there to the house, beating on the door. He said, Mom, Paul's house is on fire. And I said, oh, my gosh. And I threw that towel off, and I went running across the road and tried to get in the house, and I couldn't get in there. And if I'd happened to that, it would have exploded. They said But then, within 6 weeks later, Chuck was murdered down at the rest areas on a Sunday morning. I was getting ready for church that morning. I was taking notes on Charles Stanley and getting ready. My little girl was in there watching TV, and anything was going to happen when we left that day for church. My mom and my grandma and them had gone to a different church. They went up there to Plainsview Baptist Church, and the guy, Kenny from the state, worked with him, and he told the preacher over there, said, there's been a state employee worker murdered this morning. My mama said she got this kind of funny feeling in her chest that she thought it was heartburn or something, so she took a peppermint and ate it, and it didn't relieve it. And they were going to go on a trip, to help the flood victims up in, I think it was Missouri or somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So they left after church, and they were going getting some rubber boots and stuff like that. And I was trying to get Brittany to sleep, and I heard somebody come down the road, and I thought, well, who'd be coming down here? Because it was a dead-end dirt road on a Sunday afternoon like that. And I looked out, and I saw a yellow truck, and I saw a little brown Ralph Mitchum, the coroner, in that brown truck. And, I recognized him, but it didn't hit me. And I looked out again, and I saw him going up to the front door, and nobody ever used that door, and they went around to the side door, and Daddy's always in the chair asleep after church. Next thing I know, I looked out, and I saw him coming down through the yard there, down past that gazebo, and he had his head in his hands, and he was just shaking. And I said, Daddy, what's the matter? And he said, they've murdered Chuck. I said, what? He said, they murdered Chuck. I said, it can't be. But it was. And I always tell my little girl that, don't worry, I'll always take care of you. And my daddy came and sat down on my front porch, and she told my dad, she said, Papa, said, don't worry. She said, I'll take care of you. And those men said they'd never heard a little child say something like that. And I said, what happened? And they told me, they said that the girl had started a pop, and she thought it was a breaker box. And said she went running out of the bathrooms, she's in there cleaning the bathrooms, and she said she saw two guys running, took off, and they jumped in a Volkswagen Jet, and I still say they went down 85 and turned right at the next exit and turned around and headed back up towards Virginia.
Did he usually work at that rest stop, or what was his official?
Well, he worked in the landscaping department until they had to cut in the budget.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
And he did have a route before that where he went around to the different rest areas and things like that, and he collected the garbage and stuff. And this guy wrote a paper about him and put it in some kind of paper they had there at the State Department, Highway Department. Talked about how he was so smart because he went ahead and all the money he had saved by going to work instead of going to college and wasting all that time and stuff in college. But if it had been me, if I'd been one of those truck drivers, I'd have pulled my truck up there and I'd have stopped that car. I wouldn't have let it go on out of there.
Yeah.
But there was one truck driver said he's getting the H out of there, so he didn't want to get involved. I just tell people nowadays nobody wants to get involved when something like that happens.
So what were you talking about here? Because some people don't know, he was working at the rest area on I-85 down in Kings Mountain.
Right.
And you guys got
southbound lane.
You guys got the call and said that had happened. Now the lady you were talking about, this is an employee who went in to go to work there, right?
Right.
And she was cleaning the bathroom.
She was in there in the bathroom. She heard something. She said she thought it was a breaker.
So
she heard something go tick.
So is that right? You're there. You think that's the gunshot? Is that what that was?
That was the gunshot.
Okay.
The first one hit the water, some kind of water tank there, hot water heater, and the next one caught him right in the chest and just blew his heart up. They said it was cardiac tamponade.
Wow.
It went off through his whole body and down, came out his side.
Yeah, I was confused, because when you read what little bit you can find on it, it's kind of, they said I think he was tied up or something, but they were saying, like something was popping.
His hands were tied together with the radio cord.
Like his CB radio kind of thing or whatever? That kind of radio? Or
No, it's like a little radio they had sitting out there in the break room.
Oh, okay.
Around back where they had the maps and stuff.
Oh, okay.
AFM.
Yeah, just like a standard radio.
And
Yeah.
I went down there, I don't know how many times, and they decided they was going to close the darn rest area, and I contacted the governor. I told him, I said, if you close that rest area, I said, I'm going to be down there. I said, you're going to have to run me over with the bulldozers. And anyway, they wouldn't let us stay down there. They made us leave, and they went ahead and they tore that rest area down. You go down there today, it's nothing but just grown up. They've got it closed off where you can't even get in there. And that was a crime scene. They didn't have their right doing that.
How soon after he was murdered, did they close it down, Crystal?
Several years, but still yet, I mean, there's evidence there with all the technology they got today.
Yeah, it's true.
What year was this?
1993.
1993.
Yeah, September the 26th, 1993.
Yeah, we're coming up on the anniversary.
7:30 in the morning.
That early in the morning, really?
Yeah. He just got to work. They said they knew he'd went down there and checked the water pumps and stuff, and he'd come back up to the building, and I guess that's when they got him.
What did law enforcement tell you guys after he was murdered? What was their thinking about the suspects?
Well, they didn't come till late that afternoon, and it was Dan Crawford. He was our sheriff later on, and he said, right now, he said, I can tell you one thing. He said, he took us back there in Mom and Dad's bedroom and sat us down, and he said, I know I didn't do it. He said, but as far as I'm concerned, everybody's a suspect. He said, even y'all. I said, well, I didn't do it. I said, I was at church. I said, you must be crazy. I said, I wouldn't kill my brother. And
so that's the first thing.
on the news for about 3 days where they kept showing that over and over and over again, them rolling him out in a body bag. And I tell you, people don't realize what that does to you when you see your family member, your loved one, laying in that bag. They roll them out like that and take them away. I don't have a clue. I called a radio station, tell them to take it off the air because my mama was about to have a heart attack.
Oh, I bet. Her
blood pressure flew up to about 200 something. Got on America's Most Wanted. Took me 2.5 years, but I finally got it on there. I was going out putting up pictures of them. I've still got one of the pictures of them down there at my shop in Waco, the flat top, and there's one that had on a hat. And they asked me, they said, which one do you think did the shooting? And I said, that one in the hat. I said, because he's mean looking. I said, well, you're right. They said that was the one that did the shooting. So that one was the lookout.
So that was the first thing law enforcement said to you guys when they come in the house, said, I know I didn't do it, but anybody could, and maybe you? That's the first thing they said?
That's the first thing he said. That's what Dan Crawford said.
How many people saw the suspects? Do you know?
There was a man from Blacksburg. I don't think the girl got a good look at him or anything, because I don't think she got out of there in time. But there was a truck driver said he didn't want to get involved. He was getting the H out of there. And I don't know. You know how it is at a truck stop, people coming and going and, you know.
So was he working regular at this rest stop, or is this just a one-day deal for him, or just one on the route?
No, he was working there regular. After they had that budget cut, he had to go down there and work. He was working nights, and we were worried about him when he had to go work nights, and then they changed him to day shift. We thought, well, he'll be all right. And they just had that copycat thing a while before that, just a few weeks before that, about Michael Jordan's daddy, where somebody stopped in at a rest area and tried to rob him.
Wow.
And they said they thought it was a copycat, and I said, no. I said, this was a planned hit. I said, this was somebody who knew exactly what they was doing. I said, I guarantee you, I said, they came down that, I said, when they left out there, they went down there to the next turn, and they turned around, and they went back, and they headed back towards Virginia.
Did he carry a lot of money?
And they
on
had
him
police looking for him everywhere. They put out an APB for him, but they were looking the wrong direction. They were looking for him going south, and I think they went back north.
Yeah, Dale was wanting to know if Chuck carried a lot of money with him or cash.
He didn't have about maybe $5 or $10 on him because he was just right there at his house. He never carried a whole lot of money.
So you don't think it was a robbery then?
No. I think it was a planned, paid-for hit.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, we tried to find that America's Most Wanted episode, but we couldn't find it.
Yeah, we can't find it
Well, I've
anywhere.
got it on tape here at the house.
On VHS tape?
Yeah, it's July the 20th. It was July, the weekend of the 4th in 95. Took me
Okay.
2.5 years to get it on there, but I kept writing them and sending them letters and telling them I was coming to America's Most Wanted and I wasn't going to stop till they heard me.
Yeah, you've been a...
John Walsh wrote a book, No Mercy, and I'm in it. And he lied. He said that he found me sitting outside. He didn't find me sitting outside. I went in there and I told him, I said, I want to see John Walsh and I want to talk to the producers and I'm not leaving until I get an answer.
Well, good for you. So what, the days and weeks after Chuck was murdered, how often did law enforcement come in and talk to you guys?
Not very often. We had to go up there and bug them.
Really?
We had to keep it in the news. They didn't do anything about that.
When was the last time you heard from any authorities on Chuck's case? When was the last time you heard anything?
My gosh, it's been forever.
Because I know on the Cleveland County Sheriff's website, there's not even a picture of Chuck there. There's just a composite of the
drawing, yeah.
the drawing of the two suspects.
Yeah, they took them down. They took everything down.
Well, Crystal, is there any last things you want to say about Chuck or anything? Because, you know, we wanted to get this out there to talk about him and his case and get more people listening to it and know about it.
Well, I know one thing. Somebody's got to know something about this case. You know, they didn't just come down out of a rocket ship and come down and kill him and go back up. Somebody out there knows something. And if anybody knows anything, I wish they'd please contact the Shelby Law Enforcement Center. Or better yet, better call the FBI or the FBI.
Man. Well, Crystal, we'll definitely put this together and get this story out about Chuck and make more people aware of it. Because, you know, we've told people we're going to cover this case, and they don't even know about it. That's what's sad.
Well, they said they had this guy named Tim Adams that's supposed to have been some kind of special something they brought in to take care of the cold cases. You can't even get a hold of him. His number does not even work anymore. They had Bill Wayne, this FBI agent that worked on it for a while, and I don't know. I think he finally retired or something. And it's pathetic. Is what it is. It's really pathetic.
Yeah.
The way they've done.
I wish something would be done and they would find the guys that done it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I do too.
Yeah, it's a shame they tore that rest stop down too.
Doesn't make no
They
sense.
shouldn't have done that. That was a
Did they build a
crime
new one?
area.
No, it's just abandoned. It's just a growed up.
So nothing.
There's nothing there now.
Oh, they tore it down. It's
Yeah.
not even there anymore.
It's just it's nothing there.
Wow. So they didn't build a new one somewhere
No.
else? That don't make no sense, does it?
No.
Now, there's one over there on the other side of Welcome Center. When you come in from South Carolina, you come in North Carolina, Welcome Center over there.
Yeah.
But, you know, Chuck lived just right down there off of Dixon School Road, down there in Love Valley.
Yeah. Know that area. I know
He
that
wasn't
area very
about- They wasn't about 4 or 5 miles from home.
Wow.
Well, Crystal, we certainly appreciate you coming on the show and telling your story about Chuck and letting people know more about him.
Well, he was a good person. He wasn't a saint, but, you know, everybody's got their faults, but he was a really good person.
Well, he didn't deserve to be murdered.
Yeah, definitely.
No, he didn't, and he's my brother, and I love him, and, yeah, I wish somebody would please come forward and tell what happened. I know somebody out there has to know something.
Well, Crystal, we thank you for coming on the show, and we'll get this together and we'll get this out and let people know about it.
Yep, thank you.
All right.
Well, you have a good night, and we'll keep you in our prayers.
All right, thank you. God bless you.
All right.
You too.
All right, talk to you later.
All right.
Bye-bye.
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 All right, Dale, again, we want to thank Crystal so much,
Yeah, I know it's not easy, man.
pouring her heart out for her brother. She has done so much to try to find answers for her brother.
Yep.
Been on America's Most Wanted, done a lot of stuff.
You know, it sounded like he always looked after her, you know, and all those stories she was saying, you know, and running her back and forth to when he wanted to go to a different school, she wanted to go to, and he did. It was always, it looked like he never told her no, you know.
Yeah.
It was always whatever, even though she was saying, you know, he would take her here and then go to school and then come back and pick her up and do here and then go wherever he's doing. So he's like, he never left her out of his life. So he's always looking after her and taking care of her, and I think she's doing the same for him.
Oh, yeah, trying to find out who his killer is. And,
Yeah.
and this is
It's heartbreaking.
It's ridiculous too not to have this solved.
Yeah,
It
I
is.
mean, I understand it's you don't have much to go on.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
but we wanted to get this out there to let people, make them more aware of it and tell people about it. So hopefully something will come of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
I mean, maybe we can even get his picture on the Cleveland County Sheriff's Department's page, because
Yeah.
you know right now they don't even have his photo up.
No,
It's
but
just the photo of the wanted man.
we're definitely going to put his photo on our socials and on our stuff.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so people can know and find out more about him.
Yeah.
All right, bud, we're going to get out of here, man.
All right, let's roll.
We want everyone to be safe. Please be careful and always be aware of your surroundings.
Because the next episode could be about you.
This is the
Crack
Crack House
House
Chronicles.